Hey, good morning, everybody. Hey, welcome to this episode of Money Mondays. Hope you all doing well. Hopefully, you had an amazing weekend. It wasn't too hot for you. It was definitely hot here in Central Texas. We had a friend's birthday party we went to and hung out and had some good times. But hopefully, your Monday is off rock and roll. I know it's kind of a weird week here in the United States. I think you guys all, with some folks up in Canada Day celebration for you guys. And then obviously here on Thursday, we have the 4th of July. Now, this week is kind of a very lull week in the business for the most part. A lot of besides it marking the beginning of the third quarter, right? It's hard to believe the year's halfway over, right? Where did it go? But the thing to keep in mind is this next week and the following week is kind of a slow week out there. Why? Because people are taking vacations. They like to get out in the summer. 4th of July, with it being like in the middle of the week, it makes for a long weekend. A lot of people are basically taking from the 3rd off, which is basically Wednesday off. It's kind of what we're doing. Light day Wednesday, and then not really doing anything till Monday again. So it makes for a long weekend. So the thing I wanted to go through with you guys today are a couple things that you can work on that are going to be effective for you to do. And we all need these things. These are things you're going to use over and over and over again. So don't take it as a time not to do anything, okay? And that's one of my most frustrating things when I'm working with coaching students or one-on-one coaching. It's like there's things you need to do. I get the deal flow is fantastic. We all like the deals. That's what we love is looking at assets, and it's going to be a little bit slower time because people are down. So don't drop off and not do anything. You can take the time to work on really getting these 5 tools that we know will add success to you in the long run. Now, there have been people that have gone to several different events for the last couple of weeks, one in Nashville, one in Dallas this past weekend, a few others out there. There's different conventions. And the thing that always separates those from, those that find success from those that are looking for success is in the follow-up or these tools that they put in place to ensure that they get the most out of their work. I mean, I've got a guy right now who's trying to close on a deal, and he's really not following along the path of what we tell him marketing-wise. Like he needs to be emailing that to his audience. He needs to be having the conversations with investors. He needs to be providing, a copy of the pitch decks and the video to him so he understands that. If you're going to send over a couple samples, don't just send one, send them all at the same time versus, piecemeal it together. And here's the thing, if you try to do the minimum amount, you're going to have the minimum amount of success. You can't just sit here and say, well, I don't want to do that. Well, look, if you say you don't want to do that, then you're literally telling me you don't want to find success. And that's the most frustrating thing. When I get people that are like, oh, I know I need to do that. Well, then go do it. Okay. Quit telling me you need to do this and then not do it at all, because you're really just shooting yourself in the foot. And then when you're panic, I got to try to raise capital, trying to close on a deal. Guess what? It's your fault. It is your fault because you're a lazy ass. Don't tell me you don't have time to write up a case study. Don't tell me you don't have time to market on LinkedIn. Don't tell me you don't have time to do all that shit, because you do. All right. You do have time. You just set it as a low barrier because, it's not important. Well, today, these things are very important. Okay. And I feel like I might be venting a little bit here, which I am. Because what I see happening is I see people that have success and people that don't have success. And the big difference is those that don't have success are the ones that are not coachable. They think they know everything. Like I've been doing business like this for 10 years, or I don't want to do that. Well, guess what? Then go do something else. Quit wasting my time and wasting your time thinking that you're going to have success when you're not doing the things I tell you to do. All right. I'm not here to waste your time. I'm sure I'm not going to waste my time. And this is the thing that I always love. It's a mindset thing. Well, I know I need to go doing it. Well, if you know it, then go start spending time doing it. Because if what you are doing previously isn't working, guess what? It's not my stuff. It's not somebody else's. It's yours. You're the deciding factor in your success, not me. And you choosing not to take action, tells me how successful you want to be. And when people call me and they're like, oh, I'm panicked. I'm like, well, did you do this and this and this? No, I didn't do that. Well, then that's your own fault. All right. Like one of the things that we've done with our mastermind groups is every time we have a mastermind meeting, I'll ask them to go through and fill out it's like a social media survey, right? How often did you email your contact list? How many times did you post something interesting to LinkedIn? You know, something about talking about your deals. Like Darlene, you do a really great job posting things about motivation and the mindset stuff on your LinkedIn. You do a fantastic job, right? You know, that's one thing. It's growing your audience, and we always have to be looking to grow our audience because people come and go, and they always flow, right? But if you don't share what you're doing on a week in week out basis or day in day out basis, guess what? People aren't going to sit here and think about you. Okay. This is the thing when I tell people, like, if they're reaching out to asset managers, well, I don't want to bother them. You know what? Bother them. They're busy. They ain't sitting around waiting for you to give them a phone call. Pick up the phone and give them a call once a week. If they say they're going to get you something in 2 days and you don't get it, pick up the phone and call them. This is the thing that frustrates me. Well, I didn't want to bother you because I know you're busy. Yeah, I'm busy, but I'm here to help. All right. If you need help with something, give me a phone call. But it's always funny when I get people like, oh, I have a deal, but I need help to close it. Well, when's it going to fund? Well, this week. Well, did you do these things along the way? No. Well, hello. Your success is a direct correlation to what you put in the front end side. If you're going to be active and you're going to be marketing, it will result in gold. But if you don't market, you don't share anything, guess what? You're going to have as much luck raising capital or finding deals like the leprechaun at the end of the rainbow. Oh, man, I got me pot of gold. Okay. Oh, every pot of gold. Hey, you'd have better luck going and buying Lucky Charms at the convenience store and find stuff like that than you would do it yourself, because that's the thing that's most aggravating is you have to realize it's a business. You have to realize this is doing the same in, day out, but it doesn't have to be difficult. If you just put some work in on the front end and get stuff rocking and rolling, and then it becomes a pretty easy momentum thing going. If you're trying just to do the least minimum, guess what? You're going to get the least minimum results. I don't know why people find this so difficult. Or if I tell you to do something, go do it. It ain't going to hurt you. It's going to help you. You're here along for the long run, right? Well, then you might as well start planting seeds right now, okay? Best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. Next best time was today. Go plant some trees. Start that process. Start that mic. You got to start with a marketing mindset more so than anything else, because it is the 21st century, ladies and gentlemen. And you got to do what I tell you to do. And you try to just complete like half-ass it. Well, if you built a house, would you want to half-ass your contractors to half-ass, not put half the nails in? Or would you want to fly like on a Boeing airline when some bolts are missing because they're too lazy to put the bolts in? Come on now. All right. But anyway, let me digress. Let me bring this up. I took some time this morning as I was walking around my neighborhood this morning. I'm like, oh, if I want to lose weight, I got to get up and walk. It may be hot as the earth or as the sun out there this morning, but I get up and walk. It's the things I have to do in a little bit to get long-term. We just don't have patience these days, and that's just aggravating, but it is what it is. Okay. Anyways, let me share my screen here. Okay. All right, 5 things you need to have. These are all things that are going to help you no matter what niche you do, what your focus is, okay? You can tell me to go pound sand, say Scott Carson, notes suck. Okay, they suck, whatever. Go your merry way. I don't care. But these are all things that have helped me. They've helped my coaching students that are coachable, that actually listen to me. They're all having success. They're raising capital. They're finding deals because guess what? They are showing up in the marketplace. They are using that magical tool of SEO and Google for people to find them, for investors to find them. I'll share some numbers at the end here for you. So 5 things you need to have. First and foremost, you got to know what the hell you're doing. Okay. You got to be able to communicate what you're doing to potential investors, to potential funding partners. And the easiest thing to do that is to create you an executive summary, an updated executive summary. This is kind of like a business resume. It's not difficult. You could literally probably spend 4 or 5 minutes doing that. You need to have your logo on there. You got to have your smiling face so people know who the hell they're talking about, okay? And then it's really broken down to 3 parts, not any difficult. Part A, about your company, all right? Like what your company does, what it's been around for, where it's based, what's kind of the basis of what the company is. Part B, your focus, specifically kind of your buy box, okay? Our focus is buying residential assets that are basically from $100,000 up to $1 million. We buy in most of the major marketplaces. Our second niche that we focus on is small balance commercial. Stuff that we can buy at a discount, either A, work with a borrower, to get them back on track for a cash flow that returns a double-digit return, or B, we end up taking the property back in some sort of liquidation and then selling the asset off, or hold it, depending on what the market play. Okay. C is about you and your team. What your background is, what's your education, where'd you go to school, where do you live, what do you do a little bit for fun. The idea here is these three parts are stuff that you will repeat over and over and over and over again. Okay. But this is kind of a basic outline for it. It does not need to be difficult. There's a sample executive summary in the Basecamp group for your WC Income members. I designed mine in Canva so I can pull it in. Don't make it difficult. Like if you got multiple team members, guess what? Have a part for both team members, talk about who they are. Okay. Doesn't need to be any difficult. Guess what? You can adjust the font to make it a little bigger if you round stuff up. Make it look nice. This is something you can give away. Most people screw up on their executive summary is they print it on one side, but on the back side, they leave it blank. Well, guess what? The back side could be copies of or pictures of properties you flipped and sold, a map. We had one realtor who mapped all their assets or properties they bought, sold, or rented, or leased, or whatever they did, and they put it on a batch geo map, and that was their backside of their executive summary, was a map of all the property that they bought or sold in an area. Okay, or all other investors, all the properties they fixed and flipped in there. Those are the kind of things. I've used case studies as back. Hey, here's a couple sample deals to give you a bit of an idea. We did small balance residential, another high-end residential, and then a small balance commercial deal. Okay. Like I said, have it about your education, your experience, your family, your funding costs. The reason you have this is so you don't have to explain it a million times. If you're ever at a booth or at an expo, this is something you can hand out to vendors. And the reason I bring this up is oftentimes banks, asset managers, as you're reaching out to them, are going to ask about your company. So what do? You send them your executive summary. It looks professional. And it checks you off. Oh, you passed the smell test. You look like a professional. You don't look like you're living in a box in a van down by the river. Okay. The second thing you need, that's the first one, executive summary. This would take you maybe an hour to create in Canva. This is not difficult at all. I mean, hell, you could probably go into Chat GPT and help them write one for you. Okay. Another thing you need to have, and this is where a lot of people will just sit down and turn into a jackass and not want to budge, but you got to have videos. It's literally the 21st century. It's 2024. You have to start embracing it. Okay. If you don't, look, you're just telling me you don't want to succeed. Okay. You're just telling me that you are closed-minded and I don't really want to spend any time with you. Okay. Here's the thing you have to embrace in this. This is the best way to take one thing and share it everywhere else. Okay. And get it in front. I am proof of this, and that we are taking one little video each day, a minute-long video, at least, usually 5-6 days out of the week, talking about an asset and sharing it all over the place. Sharing it on LinkedIn, sharing it on Twitter, sharing it on Facebook, sharing it on YouTube, sharing it on TikTok, sharing it on Truth or Threads. You can throw it on Truth or Trump or whatever you want. Wherever. Just sharing it out will help you grow, but you got to get in the habit of doing it. It's not creating 8 videos and filming 8 videos. It's filming one video talking about a property you're selling, a property you bought, a property you rehab, a note you're looking at. It does not have to be a deal. What we've been doing is talking a lot about these commercial foreclosures and just talking about a different commercial asset almost every day. Another one's going on foreclosure. Another one's special service. Here's a note available for sale. Here's a performing note. Here's a non-performing note. So valuable. Now you need to have some personal videos. These work kind of around. Why do we talk about your executive summary? Because basically you can use your executive summary as guess what? Your script for a couple videos. Yes, personal videos. I'm not talking about popping, locking. Okay. I'll give you an example. Like Darlene, you had a webinar you were going to do with somebody about something last week or this week. I don't remember what it was. The thumbnail on LinkedIn looked nice, but unfortunately the font was too small. I couldn't read it. Just doing through the scroll. You remember, just because it looks big, whenever you do a thumbnail for anything, if it looks big, it looks great, but it may not look small because most people are literally just scrolling through their phone. So what you want to do is have less font, small font in your phone. You want basically get the main key point about if you're sharing it. Or I like to do a video. Hey, I got a video coming up, or we're doing a podcast episode on this, or we're doing a webinar about this. Whatever it is, that can be something about your video, about you and your experience, your education. That's something to share. If you want to get the word out, take a minute just to share it. Okay. Get it out to what you're doing. But here's the thing. Share about who you are, why people should listen to you, what's your education, what's your background. Like, I'll give you an example. I was talking with Rhonda Britton. Yes, you may know who Rhonda Britton is. She was Oprah's life coach. I'm friends with Rhonda. And Rhonda and I were at a marketing convention, Traffic Convergence, something a few years ago. We're sitting next to each other, chatting up. And known her for years. Had her on the podcast a couple times, and just absolutely great girl. And I said, well, Rhonda, you seem to have it all together. You got 4 best-selling books and other things. What do you feel? She said, I got to focus on my video. I know I need to spend more time on video and sharing my small minor points, because that's where everything is going. That's where your audience is. That's how they're watching you these days. They're literally watching more video. And you have to understand the trends have changed. It's gotten so much easier. I mean, literally, if you have a smartphone, an Apple and Android, this is about all that you need right here. Okay. And don't tell me you don't have a minute or two to talk about what you've got coming on. You do. It's just going to add and share it. Record it once and share it so it goes out across it. But anyway, share a little personal. Just can't all be deal flow. Like I said, share about you, your experience, your education. Me, I like to mix in a little bit of personal stuff. Not too much, but like, heck, I barbecued something last weekend and I got like 600 views on one video, and then another 1,000 views on another channel. I had somebody reach out to me and ask me if I wanted to be a test thing. I was like, no, I appreciate it. But I've used that same thing with personal videos. So people, it helps me build rapport with people. They see that I'm just not this real estate robot. They see that's what's going on. Like when I was at the Red Sox game a few months ago and shared the national anthem, that was great. Or a little about my cat, or what else I do? Like going to ball games, or going to Minnesota. People will enjoy that. People will follow you that along. Where I go, I'm a hook 'em horns. You know what I mean? Share a little about you and your experience. Share about your company. Go back to your executive summary. Hey, we closed notes. We started ACD capital notes to buy distressed debt. We're in Maryland. Whatever it might be, something about you and why you like your niche. Why do you focus on notes versus fix and flipping? Or why do you focus on fix and flipping or Airbnbs? It's because, I got a background in this. This is what I like. That's all great stuff. How'd you learn? What is your hero's journey is kind of the best way to see. If you get a chance, go buy the book, A Hero's Journey. That's what you want people to think about, is what's your path to where you're at. People always ask me, how'd you get started? Well, I started off as a mortgage broker or a mortgage banker with Chase. I got into mortgage lending. I had some mentors. Boom, that led to me here. People like to hear that, okay? Talk about your experience as an investor. My first deal that flopped. My first fix and flip. What I learned the most. People like to hear that. Edutainment, they call it. But share the good, the bad, the ugly. Okay. One of the best things I did years ago, back in 2010 or 2009, was I went with the 150K or 100K in 100 days. Is what I was planning is this little daily journey, little daily blog, little day about what I was focused on that day. I challenged myself, and I would do a little like video recap. Okay. Business videos, talk about case studies, past and present deals you're working on. Maybe you've got a webinar or something you're attending. Just take some time and pencil in the schedule to record is something to do this. We're not telling you to do it every day. That would be really great. Maybe you can batch record on a Saturday, Sunday. But the reason most of you aren't having the success you want to have a success is because of this right here. You're not sharing anything, and that's where everybody's at these days. Okay? Everybody's in the video side aspect of things. So you got to share it. I'm sorry you got into real estate investing, be a real estate investor. I get it. Guess what? You're in the marketing business more so than anything else. It's what you have to do. It's what you have to get the word out to the masses. Okay? Another thing you need to have. I hate this. I get it. Social media profiles. No, you don't need to have one in everyone unless you want to. But LinkedIn is very important, and you need to update it more than once every 6 months. Okay? LinkedIn is the gold mine for where we're really all at. How you'll find investors, how you'll find asset managers, you'll find buyers, sellers, funding sources on LinkedIn. Okay? Updated a photo about you with contact information. It's your business resume. You can have projects on there. You have some stuff that's focused specifically. I have a LinkedIn newsletter, where we'll update it with a blog, same blog that I'll email out to my email database quite a bit. So I don't have to do any extra work. I just copy, paste it over, share an article, share a video. It attracts attention. Okay. It attracts attention. And then YouTube, you all need to have YouTube. I'm sorry. If you don't think you do, then you are completely wrong, because YouTube is the second largest search engine owned by the number one search engine these days. It still is it will work in your favor to get you people coming to you. I mean, we have the #1 YouTube channel over anybody else in the note industry, and it's not even close. Okay? Not even close. And this YouTube channel, I had to restart it. Okay? I had an earlier channel that I lost. My closest competitor had a 6-year head start on me. Okay? But we blow his channel away. We have over 8,000 subscribers. I think he's over 5. He uploads like 3 videos a month. We upload 15, 16. There's no reason. That's why we go by, because we take our 1 little minute videos about these deals and we share that there. And it gets 400, 500 views, 100 views. Okay? But guess what? It leads to people searching. People search it, and guess what? They come to my website. They book a phone call with me. They want to invest. They want to talk about notes. Okay? These all things work in my favor because I'm out planting seeds. These are all planting seeds. Guess what? When I upload a video to YouTube, it's out there for a while. Yes, most of the views are going to be in the first couple of days, but I've still got videos from like 5 years ago that are still generating views. 1,000 views a month off that stuff, and people are commenting. They're connecting with me. Okay? It's got to be something about your niche. Okay? And you can mix in a little personal, but you really want to have it focused on your niche. Don't be one of these jack of all trades, then you're master of none. Share the rehabs you're doing. If it's about real estate, that's a niche. Okay. Here's my niche. Here's what I'm focused on. Here's my listing. Here's the rehab. Here's a note we're buying. Whatever it might be, people love that. Because that's the thing, is 99% of people aren't doing anything, and they want to be around the 1% doing something. I'll have somebody that reaches out to me and says, they comment my video. I'm like, oh, hey, great. And I'll respond back to the comments, and, then we'll jump on a phone call, or they'll opt into my free class, and we'll get talking. And they'll become funding sources, or they'll become note buyers, or they'll have notes available. I can't tell you how many notes I've had sent to me because people saw my videos on YouTube, or they saw it on LinkedIn, and they reached out to me to help either to sell me a note that they had a note, or they had a list of notes, or they were a hedge fund or a bank source that they saw my videos and it added to my credibility. I mean, there's nothing more powerful than being on the phone. Like I had this Bank of Missouri. I'm on the phone with an asset manager at Bank of Missouri talking about a 24-unit apartment complex note, a couple single family notes, and our day in, day out kind of call blitz, stuff like that. And he's like, hey, you and I connected on LinkedIn. I'm like, oh, we are? Yeah, we've been connected for a couple years. He goes, I really love your videos. I'm like, okay. He goes, I love your podcast. I've actually learned about note investing. Like, you're the freaking bank president. What do you mean you don't know about note investing? Is what I'm thinking. But that's the kind of credibility. I mean, one of my earlier videos on my older channel that we went away, I'm out walking around this condo here in Austin, Texas, in the middle of the summer, sweating my ass off. Literally, the sweat is running down my face as I'm like doing a selfie with this, talking about the 2,400 Oakview condos, and there are these 2 notes in there on a property that I was walking by. Well, guess what? The buyer of those notes reached out to me and said, do you want to buy them? I'm like, yeah, I'd like to buy them, because he was doing his own due diligence, and guess what? They found my shit, nobody else's. Share about your basic case studies. Share about the deals you're working on. If you're making an offer on something, you're going to tape in. It's so easy to create short little information about what you're doing just to get the word out. Like I said, if you do something more than anybody else, guess what? You will stand out in a good way. Okay. And it's all about like kind of documenting your journey. I've gone from a mortgage broker to a realtor to a real estate investor to a fix and flipper to a note investor. Guess what? All those things add value. It makes you that much approachable, much more likable. But guess what? If you never share about any of this, people don't know you from Adam. They just think you're another agent or another realtor or another guy who works part-time, who's a jack of all trades and a master of none. Okay, you got it. And this is not, we're not talking putting in 40, 50 hours a week. Please, no, don't do that. 30 minutes a day. It's like a workout. You do a little bit each day to go a long way. Another thing, you got to have an email service provider, something that you can send out like a CRM. We like Keep, but people use Pipedrive or Podio or REI Black Book is good. MailChimp's got to have something you're going to pay. And this is the one thing, it's probably going to cost you money to send out emails. But email is still the #1 return on investment when it comes to marketing. Still like a $4,400 for every dollar you spend, you should get $44 back. Okay. The proof is in the pudding. We spend a lot of money on our email each month. Okay. It's like a car payment or a house payment sometimes, but guess what? It leads to people coming in. It makes its money back tenfold, if not more. Okay. You got to have your email. Can't just be sending it from your Gmail account because you can't send mass emails through them for the most part. Can't track who opened it. Okay. You got to be able to upload list your shoebox full of business cards or uploading a list of asset managers or mortgage bankers. Okay. Upload a list that you can send to, segment your audiences. That's something you got to be able to do. If you just get a flat, I don't know what it is, like benchmark is like this, where you just upload a list, but there's not an ability to tag your list or segment your list, it's going to be really difficult. I mean, I got to I don't know, probably, I'm not joking, 200 different niches or even more than that in my keep email list. Okay. But the great thing about this, I can go in and pre-schedule an email blast and walk away. I could take a 3-week vacation, but still send a weekly email that's pre-written. Okay. One of the things that we are working on right now is, since we got to halfway through the year, is guess what? Next couple of days, I'll basically write up my emails for the second half of the year. You know what I'm going to include in my second half? A link to my website, a link to my YouTube video. I may throw a case study or something in there. All right. I can schedule email blasts out to my investors. Just the routine stuff is one of the most valuable things. But you also, the great thing about CRM, it can create a link where you can put it on your website where people can opt in. They're going to your social or they're going to stuff and they opt in. So it grows my list on a day in, day out basis. We add, I'm not joking, an average of about 15, about 15 new emails per day. 15 new email opt-ins per day. Some of those are people physically opting in or booking a call on my schedule. Some of that is us being smart with our website, being able to pull a cookie or two and get people to be able to scrub an email from that. And other things are just people sending an email to me or connecting with me and going that route. Okay. The nice thing about these days too is a lot of your CRMs will have some sort of SMS service where you can send a text message blast out of it. This is important. You really do need to have this because this comes in very, very effective. If you've got somebody's cell phone number and you can send them a text message blast, guess what? That's going to be an awesome way for you to raise capital, get the word out. Because not everybody will open their email, not everybody will see your social media stuff. But 85% of people are going to see basically your text message if you have their right cell phone number. And guess what? It's pretty easy to raise capital that way. We raised $4 million in private capital in basically 2 minutes a few months back on one deal we sent out. And we got bombarded back with people like, I would fund that. I would fund that. I would fund that. Perfect. And that's a great thing. But you know what? If you're not putting your business cards or contacts or anything in anything, you're just trying to be cheap, guess what? You're going to have a shitty ass, cheap ass business. Okay. Last thing you need to have really is an updated website. You got to have something that looks decent. WordPress is nice. We had William McMeans on Note Night in America on Monday night. Was that last Monday night or the week before? And he talked about what he does. There's a cost to it. Yes, you could try to do a WordPress site yourself. I would just pay somebody to do it. It's something you have to have. But really, you don't need this huge 30, 40 page website. I mean, mine is a huge website when you look at all the number of pages we have to it. But we have our blog, we have our podcast, but all that is SEO, which gives us a lot of traction. What do we get? 1,500 to 2,000 visitors per day to the website. But you really only need 5 pages. You got to have a home page, what you focus on with your email opt-in somewhere at the very top of the page where people can see that. You might put your hello video on the front. Hey, welcome to We Close Notes, or hey, here's information about what we do with your pitch deck video. Something where they go to it, they can see that stuff, because that's literally the hook. That's your fish hook to get people to go to your website, and you want to have that playing first. Like Cal Ewing's got a really great video, a picture, but he's got his hello video at the top, but then his pitch deck video is below. And that's okay. I don't know how many people are saying. I think if you'd have a higher hit rate with this pitch deck video on front, but that's okay. All right. You need to have something about you, who you are, and who your team is. So this sounds familiar, doesn't it? Kind of like your executive summary. Deals, case studies. If you have a page, you talk about media or talk about your vendors. Talk about the vendors you use, your attorney, your servicing companies, any IRA companies you work with, all that stuff. Okay. Your vendors for cleanout crews or whoever it might be, put them on there. Okay. You got to have something that's going to communicate a blog. And in this world, you need to have some sort of blog. It doesn't need to be daily blog, but something once a week, something sharing interesting articles. I mean, like last week or in the class, we literally showed you how to create 52 topics through ChatGPT and write a newsletter for each one. And that's something you can have just posted to your website, create a blog. The reason you update it is the way that Google works, the analytics, is that they look at your websites and they look to see if there's anything new information. They're going to look at keywords, and they're going to look, and the more the website with more keywords attached to it, guess what? The more traffic, the more updated your information is, the more higher up on the search engines you're going to rank. Okay. And guess what? Can you use that blog and article, create a video about it? Yes, you could do that. You could throw it on a newsletter. You could make a longer form video. You can throw it everywhere. The whole idea is this stuff is rinse and repeating, but it all works together in multiple phases. Okay. But then obviously having a page for contact us, social media. The thing I see, I hate websites that have nothing about who they are, who you and your team are. So where they're just like a private company, I don't trust those. Who am I talking to? Who's the person or people that I'm going to communicate with? Okay. And I need to spend some time updating mine. We're in the process of doing that right now. But those are the 5 things. So once again, let's go back, probably 5 or 6 things. We go back to the beginning. I just get the same questions over and over again for people. And it's like, okay, that's the reason you're not having success. Okay. So you got to have an executive summary. Okay. Executive summary, not difficult, 1 page. You need to be doing some videos and sharing it on your phone and all the different social, personal, about you, yada, yada. It's the 21st century. Okay. Make it a little bit of personal about business and then some stuff about business and deals that you're working on. 3rd thing, social media posts. Your videos will help you with that. Okay. But you need to have stuff on LinkedIn and posting more than once a month. Once a week is the minimum, if not once a day. Okay. And it doesn't, maybe it's an article you see, maybe it's a video, just something you share, something on and guess what? It's okay to go back and repost the same thing a week later. You ain't got to create something new. Maybe you need to post something once or twice. I've got images that we rotate through once every other week. Basically, it's the same thing we created. Hey, we buy notes. Okay, projects you're working on, LinkedIn newsletter. Guess what? Go get you a YouTube account. It's free. Start posting some stuff on there. Learn that. That will help you make more money and raise more capital than anything else out there alone. Email service provider that you're paying for, something that can actually see who's opening, something you can segment your list, something you can upload lists to, pre-schedule things, use it as an opt-in from your website, and then also have the SMN blast that you can blast out to your contacts quickly and efficiently, like the hot list, okay? And it'll help you raise capital faster. And then last, final, but the thing that's probably going to cost you the most is going to be your WordPress website, okay? 5 pages. This is going to be your mothership, your home base, where everything kind of points back into. The problem is most people go get a website, but then they don't put any type of marketing out. Dude, it's like going and starting a pizza joint, but never opting it out, never sending out any flyers, just standing there hoping that drive-by traffic will find you. And that's not an effective thing of doing business these days, okay? But that's what I would tell you guys to do. They're not difficult to do. Yes, you should hire somebody to do the WordPress, your CRM, you're going to spend some time, but most of these CRM companies have a training program. It's going to help you. If you're going to spend all this money going to summits and conferences and meetup groups and expos, but you have no way to follow up with people, you have no way to share what the hell you're going on, guess what? You're really not in business. You might feel like you are. You might be running around doing a lot of little things, but guess what? You're not in a long-term business, okay? Well, think about this. All these retail companies, these brick and mortar companies are going out of business because they just sit there expecting foot traffic. Well, guess what? The foot traffic isn't driving their cars anymore, ladies and gentlemen. The foot traffic is online, okay? The foot traffic is being smart and leveraging social media, your email lists, and video to get the word out on what you're doing. It's 2024. You can choose to act like it's 1990, but guess what? Dressing up as a 1990 theme party is only cool every like once a year, okay? Embrace these 5 things, put them to work. It will help you do more. If you don't like notes, that's fine. Go do something else. But all these things will help you long term in your 10, 20, 30, 40 years. You're a real estate investor or you're an entrepreneur. If you don't want that, keep working for somebody else. Let somebody else determine your value. You can pray for that 4% increase of pay every year. All right. You all are worth more than that. But with these things, you control your destiny. And this is what is these things have helped me more than anything else in the last 20 years as an entrepreneur, because I embrace these things. I said, if I learn these things now, they will make my job easier. I can do more with less. I can do more with less. Who doesn't want that? But I can still build a very strong house that's going to be around for the long term. So that's what I recommend you guys go do. Put those 5 things into play. They will help you raise more capital. They'll help you find more deals. They'll help you sell more stuff. They'll help you just absolutely make more money if you embrace these things. Quit being so difficult. Embrace it. All right. It ain't me. There's a lot smarter people than me talking about it. I'm just passing this on to you. You can choose to take it or continue to have your limited beliefs hold you back from limited results.